So, we're almost at the end of the HiFiMAN Saga. How's it feel? Why am I asking myself a question? So, let's begin this comparison. This time we're looking at the HiFiMAN Ananda, and as usual we are comparing him to my tried and true Sennheiser HD600s. And not only are these my benchmark, these are the benchmark of many people out there. Now yeah, this headphone is starting to show its age, but I mean, it's pretty good for a reason. And good it is. One thing to note before we begin, the HD600s used in this comparison are the original models that were released in 1997, the one with the quail egg color scheme, not the newest 2019 revision that looks like just look gray, you know. Anywho, as far as the contents are concerned, the Anandas come with various things in the box, including the headphones themselves, a short dual 3.5 millimeter tip ring sleeve to L-shaped 3.5 millimeter tip ring sleeve cable, a 1/4 inch tip ring sleeve adapter, a longer dual 3.5 millimeter tip ring sleeve to straight 1/4 inch tip ring sleeve plug cable. Obviously it comes with the owner's guide, just in case you've never owned a headphone before. Congratulations, today's a big day for you. Thanks, HiFiMAN. And of course it comes with the box I have been applauding for the past couple of videos. This, my doggies, is what the Anandas come in. This right here is the display box. Well, not just the display box, the box that they come in. As you can see, it is beautiful, it is made out of pleather, and it's got the logo everywhere. But on top of that, it actually looks very nice. If you sit this on a bookshelf, if you sit this on your desk or something and you leave it semi-open like that, because it pretty much opens and it just, you know, lands on the floor like that, and you have a headphone inside and you kind of go like this to partially close it, it's so beautiful. It looks very nice. Now on the flip side, the Sennheiser HD600s do come with the headphones themselves, obviously. It does come with that dual 2-pin to 1/4 inch, well actually no, 3.5 millimeter tip ring sleeve cable, and it's actually very long and made out of a very nice material, which everybody seems to disagree on, but I love this cable. Absolutely my favorite cable of all time. And a 1/4 inch tip ring sleeve adapter. Oh, and let's not forget this nice looking box that I have repurposed into being a display box for my HD600s, which is very nice. As you can see, I went ahead and attached it to a speaker stand that originally served to house my JBL LSR 305s or 30Xs, and now, you know, now they look nice. Now, as far as the box is concerned, it will fit something as narrow as the HD600s or the HD6X0 line, but nothing wider than that. Just keep that in mind. Now, as far as the build quality is concerned, despite the materials, I'm gonna give it to the HD600s here. The HD600s are mostly made of plastic, but do feature metal in the headband adjustment mechanism and in the grills. They feature a traditional headband design with a relatively outdated padding style up top. And the reason I'm saying it's outdated is because the 650, 6XX, 660S, everything that's pretty much replaced the HD600s come with a similar design, but it's more like there's paddings on the side, but then there's a gap right here at the top, a wider gap than this. And so that is actually proven to be more comfortable in terms of reducing the amount of hot spots that you get on your head. Now, despite their materials, the way they are put together feels incredibly solid, and I would absolutely trust that these will last a very long time. After all, there are plenty of users who have owned them since their release in 1997, and other than some pad replacements, they haven't stopped working. The Anandas, on the other hand, are mostly made of metal. The only plastic parts on this headphone are on the size adjustment mechanism, where the logo and branding reside, and on the cups themselves. They feature a suspension strap mechanism type of design. Despite their materials, the feel of these in the hand does not feel as assuring as the HD600. Their weakest point lies in the size adjustment mechanism. When you try to wiggle them around, it feels like they will most likely become loose and not stay at whatever setting you leave it at. So here, just a quick test. Now HD600s. You see what I mean? Now, for what it's worth, this is one of the best feeling HiFiMAN headphones I have received, and I have felt. So I will give them that. Now, as far as the comfort is concerned, I'm going to give it to the HT600s for sure. Keep in mind that my HT600s are about 2 years old now. Are about 2 years old by now, while the Anandas are essentially brand new with a couple of hours of head time. Not burn-in. I've burnt these in quite a while, but head time is a couple hours. The Anandas do their job relatively well, offering a tight grip on the head to prevent them from sliding off given their weight and size. Now, they're not that heavy, especially for the massive planars that they are, but the suspension strap allows for a pretty good weight distribution. The HT600s are very lightweight, but offer a pretty tight clamp force as well. With my particular pair, the clamp force on the HT600s is a bit looser than when I got them, although it is still on the tight-ish side. I'd say the Ananda's clamp force may loosen up a tiny bit as time goes by if the pads do wear down a bit. As I mentioned before, the HT600's padding up top is a bit outdated. The good news is you can actually buy that padding and replace it yourself very easily. I'll see if I can have that link down below to Amazon. I think the padding probably costs like, what, $15, $17. No, on the tech side of things, the only thing I have to mention here is that the HT600s are a dynamic driver, which means that you can use these off of a solid state amp, whether it's single-ended or balanced, as well as tube amps to change up the sound a bit. In fact, many tube fans highly recommend using tubes with the HD6X0 line. The Anandas are planar magnetic headphones, which means that compatibility across tube amps is a bit complicated. Do your research to see if the tube amp you're looking for is compatible with this type of planar. Now, as far as sound is concerned, the testing for this review was done entirely stock. No EQ has been added to either headphone. We will discuss EQ after the sound portion. Now, with that out of the way, let's begin. As far as bass is concerned, with bass guitars, the Anandas offer a more forward response and offer far better texture here. The bass guitars have a bit more growl and I guess a little more life to them, a little more texture, separation, detail, some more tangibility to them. Now, the HT600s offer a more relaxed and woolly bass guitar, not quite as detailed, and they don't reach as far below into the sub bass either. In the sub bass, here's an example: Zealots of Stockholm. At the minute 35, the Anandas are more forward and offer the most clarity in the bass note. Now at 306, they both cut off around the same time in that bass valley. However, the Anandas do present the note more forward and with more texture. I know I sound repetitive, but it is what it is. Yeah, no, generally speaking, the bass on the HT600s is more woolly, more relaxed, more soft, whereas the bass on the Ananda is textured, full of growl and hyped. Not hyped like overdone, but like very, very lively. Now with drums, an example, I'm gonna use the intro to Rasputin by Boney M. You know, the Anandas do reproduce that drum solo with more authority and slam to them. They sound a tad more colored than that plainer response of the HD600s. Now, as far as the beat that comes in at around the 27-second mark, the Anandas have just a teensy bit more slam to it. Generally speaking, they're about the same as far as the warmth is concerned, but the Anandas do possess a more forward bass response than the HD600s. Now we jump into mids. The Anandas have thinner and sharper female vocals that are sometimes a bit too strident to listen to. The HD600s, on the other hand, have a more laid-back and comfortable sound to them. With male vocals, the Anandas present a more forward response with better detailed and separation. However, it is also a colder response by comparison. The HD600s do have that warmer, velvety vocal response that they are widely regarded for. It's just mid-killers. Not killers as in they destroy them, killers as in, yeah, you know. Ugh. With the band and orchestra instruments, the Anandas reproduce a more intense and snappy response by comparison. They're probably better suited for this type of genre if what you seek is that intensity and absolute detail retrieval. Now, the HD600s offer a more neutral response, which isn't necessarily the snappiest or most forward, but it is the more comfortable listen, with a small exception in the upper mids, right around where the saxophone comes in at the minute 44 in Tank by Seatbelts. as an example. Now let's approach the treble. The Anandas do have the better treble extension, but that is partially due to the fact that they also have the most treble-heavy sound. This makes treble-heavy tracks such as Bangarang really treble uncomfortable to listen to without the use of any treble EQ. Now treble, the Anandas, I'm going to stop that now. The Anandas definitely possess that silvery timbre in the treble that is heard from HiFiMAN headphones. In my opinion, despite the fact that it certainly does make some higher-end instruments pop and reveal quite a bit of detail, the timbre in them is just very thin and unrealistic. So I got two examples here. Example number one, Tank by the Seatbelts. The Anandas make the scraping of the strings of the acoustic guitar on the right side and the maracas on the left side pop out more and sound faster. So in my opinion, that's a pro for me. However, here is the flip side of that benefit, the detriment of the benefit. Super Meat Freeze by Mord Fustang. The Anandas really make the entire high-end sound very silvery and forward. Although it can be a preference, it is definitely far from neutral. And personally, it's just more of a gimmick to me than in I guess a faithful reproduction of what sound actually is. Now, as far as soundstage and imaging are concerned, the Anandas don't necessarily have a very wide soundstage, but they are definitely wider than the HD600s. They give plenty of room for imaging and separation to occur. Now, as far as the imaging goes, these HD600s have been very well known for their incredible capabilities. However, yeah, the game is changing quite a bit. The Anandas are a step up in imaging. Its wider soundstage allows for its better imaging capabilities to really shine and separate different instruments and vocals. I'd honestly have to be a Sennheiser fanboy if I were to say that these are very close. However, each is very good for their price point. I guess that only makes me half a fanboy. Anyway, some notes and observations before we do reach that conclusion. Yeah, the ceiling fan thing. Look, if you have a ceiling fan or tower fan that is blowing air towards your left or right side, expect the air to move the diaphragm of these, or the driver, and make a wobbly type of sound. This can only be heard when no music is playing or through quieter passages such as Hotel California. It does not affect the sound nor the sound quality, but just needed to put it out there. I need to let you know. After all, that is kind of my job, so you're welcome. You can introduce an EQ to try to normalize the Ananda's frequency response, but the results are not very favorable here. They end up losing what makes them sound special, all the while not completely eliminating the biggest problem they face, the peak at around 9 kilohertz. To me, that leaves this headphone as either one you will get used to, or one that is simply not for you. Conclusion. Unfortunately, I fall in the latter category. Now that I've spent quite a lot of time listening to the Anandas and my ears have begun to acclimate to it, my impressions have improved, yet my decision remains the same. It's a shame that they opted for such a steep high-end with these. They really are technically impressive. They are. I'm not gonna praise HiFiMAN. No, you know what? I am gonna praise HiFiMAN. Listen, you had a great thing going on, and if you had reduced that treble a bit, because these just way too much treble, if you had reduced it a bit, you would have had a great thing with the Anandas, and so many people would have bought them. So many people. Anyway, they possess impressive bass detail, they separate vocals well enough, and they have impressive treble extension as well. Not to mention, they are one of the best imaging cans I have ever heard, but their frequency response is unforgivable and unadjustable. That alone makes them a hard pass for me. Now, at least with the HD800s, which are a can with a problematically elevated treble response like these, that one peak can be easily adjusted, and just like that, it becomes a doable option because everything else doesn't sound troubled. You get rid of the issue while still maintaining the innate characteristics of that was a light flicker. The light just flickered. The innate characteristics of the HD800s. So honestly, flaws like these are why the HD600s are still a thing. Like, yes, they are the masters of pretty much nothing, maybe mids, especially nowadays. However, they do so many things so well that they satisfy such a massive demographic. There is no one flaw to them that make them a deal breaker. unlike with headphones like, say, the Ananda or this, well, yeah, spoilers, but past headphones that I've reviewed, you've seen that I love them, and this is great, and that's amazing, and so is this, but they have this issue, and that one issue makes it a no-go. The HD600s just don't have that. They don't. Now, I'm not going to rant forever, but I'm just going to say, I mean, you know, to all of you that call me a Sennheiser fanboy, hey, maybe it's for a reason, man. Maybe it's because the company actually made something really good that can withstand the test of time for a really long time. I mean, what? I mean, these things are older than me. I mean, not this particular model. Like, I'm not 2 years old, you know. But these things were released before I was born. So just to give you an idea. Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave your comments down below if you have any comments or any questions. Don't forget to check out the Patreon down below. And I'm going to have the links to both the revised version of the 600s and the Anandas down below, as well as the headband thing for the 600s. So, thank you very much for watching, and hope this video helped your purchasing decision. I'll see you in the next one.